Hey there, fans of the Super Fun Time Show. This is Kevin from the Super Fun Time Show. I'm sitting here on Sunday morning with my cup of Java. Let's make kind of a goofy but fun Survivor video where we really just kick around some stuff that sounds really fun to talk about. This video today, I want to give you a heads up before we really dive into it. Cook Islands 2 will never ever happen. This is a video where we're just gonna have fun talking about a hypothetical cast list. No one's gonna get canceled. I don't want anyone to ever be split by race in Survivor ever again. This was an experiment Jeff Probst did a billion years ago. Survivor, they thought, was gonna go off the air anytime soon. So they said, you know what? Let's throw everything at the wall. Let's make a season where we divide the cast by the four most dominant racial backgrounds in the United States. We had a black tribe, a white tribe, a Latino tribe, and an Asian tribe. And it was an interesting experiment. Coincidentally, a lot of the greatest all-time castaways came from that season. Ozzy, Penner, Candace, Parvati, some big winners actually came out of that cast, but that's beside the point. And today, I thought it'd be really fun if we made a Survivor Cook Islands 2 cast list only using returners from the new era. Really, what we're doing is we're making kind of a second chances cast. Actually, every winner of the new era represents one of these four groups. Erica, 41, is Asian. Mariana, 42, is black. Gabler, 43, is white. And Jam Jam is Latinx. So these tribes, these four tribes of 5 people, are set up in the exact same way they were in Cook Islands. So like, for example, the tribe of white Americans is gonna have 3 women instead of 3 men, because that's what it was in Cook Islands originally. I was looking for not only players that finished the end of the game that did really well, but also some players at the beginning of the game that probably could have done really well, but flamed out for one reason or another. I also tried to have an equal amount of representatives from 41, 42, 43, and 44. And to try to keep it authentic, I kept it in Fiji, and I gave them all Fijian names. So, if we want to dive into this, remember, no one's getting canceled. It's just a fun hypothetical. If you ever did it this way, I don't think anyone would appreciate it, including myself. Now, I've already said it's bad, so let's get into it. So we're gonna start with the first tribe, which I've called the Mavua tribe. This is the Asian American tribe. First up on Team Mavua is Owen Knight from season 43. Owen Knight is on there because, you know, he was an immunity beast. He made the final 3, even though he had a little bit of trouble being in the loop for a lot of votes. Like, he didn't have a lot of control over most of the votes once the merge came around. Still, he was in the mix. He unfortunately just was left out of the conversations by the right people. And obviously he made final tribal council, so he's very good. He's tied for the most immunity wins by an Asian American ever in the game. Most by any male. He's a beast, so he should be in this group because teams need strong players to win challenges, and Owen is very strong. Then from season 44, we have Helen Lee of the Tika tribe originally. Helen's one of those people that I chose to be in the final 3 before the season even started. And once it got going, I thought Carson was gonna stick with her and Sarah to win the game ultimately, but you know, he didn't. Obviously went on to form the famous Tika 3 with Carolyn and Jam Jam. But Helen, make no mistake, she was voted out because Carson recognized how smart she was and how good she would be in the game. So Helen unfortunately was taken out prematurely, and I think she would do great in this setup. Next, from season 41, we have Nasir. Nasir of the Luru tribe. This guy, all he did was work. He moved, he had an infectious personality in my opinion, and how he did things. He found a hidden immunity idol because he just put in the work, and he was very good in challenges, very competitive. He did whatever it took to try to win, and I appreciated that pretty greatly. Overall, he was just a good driving force. Strategically, it seemed like he maybe wasn't in the know as much as he could have been, but that's okay. I mean, I think that it's something that you can do the second time around a little bit better. And next, for the Mavua tribe, is Jenny from season 42, originally on the Vadi tribe. Jenny was a person that I thought could have done really well in the game as well, but was taken out a little too early. The dynamics of the Vadi tribe were kind of all over the place a little bit, and I think she could have definitely made it a little bit further, getting to the merge. I didn't expect her to win, I admit, but I think she's someone who would be very adaptable in a second chance. So that's why I'm throwing her onto this tribe. And finally, her buddy from season 42 that I'm throwing onto this tribe as well is Hai. Hai is a person that I thought did really well. I think he's one of the sharpest movers and shakers of the new era. That's where I think he's a little bit different than Owen and Nasir in particular. I think he finds a way to marry, kind of being a physical threat to some degree, along with being a strategic. Socially, he was very adept. He's very smart. I think it's a very solid tribe when you have Owen, Nasir, you have Hai, Jenny, and of course Helen from season 44. I think Mavua is shaping up to be a pretty awesome tribe for the Cook Islands too. Again, this is never going to happen. Just have fun with it if you're outraged. And next up we have the Cuvu tribe, which is the Caucasian-American tribe. First one, we're gonna have Xander from season 41. Xander was a guy that I thought played pretty well in the game. Like, he did a lot of the buzz things super well, had a great heart, built good relationships, became a threat kind of too early, and is pretty bright. I think he'd be a great addition to any tribe, truthfully. And he's kind of like a balance for someone like Hai from the Mavua tribe that I made up, okay? So Xander was someone that went to the finals and it just didn't work out well at all. But I think he could do maybe better a second time around. Next is Carolyn from season 44. I'm sure a lot of people would be super stoked about this one, just like I am, because I love Carolyn. She's definitely a balanced piece in many ways. She's super smart and super perceptive. I have a feeling that once you see the makeup of this tribe, she's still going to be treated as if she's not going to be the most serious player, even though obviously she absolutely is based off what we saw from last season. But Carolyn is going to be really fun. She's great entertainment from a show standpoint. She tries really hard, and I think she can fit in pretty much with whatever tribe she's in. And she went to the finals and absolutely should have gotten a vote, and I cannot understand why she got crushed in Final Tribal. But that's beside the point. Carolyn and Xander so far, and the next is going to be Noelle from season 43. Noelle's added to this list because not only do we need a representative from season 43, I mean, being a Paralympic runner is really impressive. Like, everyone remembers that challenge that she did in season 43 where she was really far behind. And then she ended up winning through sheer grit, determination, laser focus. I thought it was excellent. I mean, as a player, she's a little more forgettable because she gets lost in the mix of season 43's like Ride or Die and the Coco Crew and Baka Boys. She's very memorable. People remember this like really awesome, like beautiful young girl with the leg who was just kicking ass all the time. And I want her as a part of that tribe because I think that reminds me of, to some degree, like a Candace. And I think she'd be a great add to this tribe. Next is going to be Jonathan from season 42. Now, Jonathan, aka the Incredible Hulk, this guy had to be added to the tribe in my opinion because he just sticks out so easily as far as a character. He reminds me of like James from Survivor China. Is he the most strategically adept? No, but he did make it super far. He's going to be really helpful in challenges that are very physical. However, there aren't a lot of those too much anymore. I mean, once the merge came and he had to do puzzles, he got exposed. I still remember the very first challenge, like the Sweater Savvy, when they had to count triangles. Jonathan's like, I don't know, man. I keep coming up with 11. And Omar's like, I'm at 36. So, and that's what you're going to get from Jonathan. Great with physical stuff, not so much strategically. So I think he's a little bit of a balance to someone like a Xander, and even Carolyn, who's very strategic. And then finally for this tribe, we have Franny from season 44. A lot of people, I'm sure, just jumped up in their chairs and said, yeah, Franny. She's brilliant. She's a challenge beast as well. This tribe has quite a few challenge beasts, which I think is important to balance things out. I mean, every Saboga needs a Mogo Mogo, and this is kind of the Mogo Mogo, I think, of the season. Franny, she was on her way to winning like every immunity in season 44 until she got voted out because she did lose one. Very strong, very smart, great instincts, which is fantastic. So I think Cuvu would be a very interesting dynamic pretty much immediately, assuming that they lose challenges. All right, moving right along, we're moving to the Galoa tribe, which is the African-American tribe. This one, put a lot of thought into it, well, just like all the other ones, but put a lot of thought in this one. This was tougher because I had a lot of good backups, didn't quite make the cut. This one to start off with from season 41, coming out of the red corner, Deshaun. Deshaun was a guy that I remember when I was watching 41, I said, you know what? This guy's got the juice. I think he's going to win the game. And it seemed like it slowly fell away and became more Erica's game toward the end. But, he's very bright, good in challenges, good personality, good relationships. And I think that he has a great chance of coming back and doing super well in the game if he were to be able to return. Now, speaking of someone who is dominant, but in pretty much a totally different way with a lot of advantages and stuff like that, is Drea from season 42. Now, Drea, she's very physical. She was a track runner for a very long time. She did pretty well in the game. I mean, her relationship seemed to be good. She seemed to be more of a reserved personality, very bright. She had a ton of advantages at one time. She had like idols, she had extra votes and stuff like that, which is pretty impressive. So she's got a nose for that kind of thing. And I think it'd be great to have because assuming season 46 will say, if it's Cook Islands 2, they're going to have a lot of advantages, just like any of the others in the new era. And she'd be really useful in that regard for sure. And I think she'd be a threat to reckon with. But it seems like she may have some turmoil with some of the castaways from the past. So I'm kind of curious how that would play out. Drea and Deshawn, good start to the tribe, I think. Next one, representing season 43. This is the first boot of the season. Mariah. Mariah, you know, very colorful hair. It was hard to forget her. You know, she looks like the girl from the big comfy couch in a really just different version of it. Mariah is someone that it looked like she was kind of prompted to do pretty well. Like she was going to do well in the game, I think. But the problem is, you know, the dynamics just didn't work out. She targeted Gabler. Ellie didn't want that to happen, so Mariah ended up being the first one out of the game, unfortunately. But it sounds like strength-wise, she did really well in the challenges. She was not the worst. Janine was probably worse than she was on the Baka tribe. And it looked like she had a pretty good mind for strategy moving forward and her relationships. People liked her. If she comes back, I think Mariah is a real dark horse to really do well in the game. And I'd be really happy to see her, especially as someone from Philadelphia. I would love to see a Philly rep come back into the game. It'd be really cool. And I think she would do pretty well. And she's a colorful character, like quite literally. So it's great to have someone in the game with all these beautiful rainbow locks going on. And next up, representing season 44, we have Brandon, originally from the Ratu tribe. Brandon just got done Survivor 44. He did really well. I think he lasted longer in the game than I expected, but that's because he did so much better. Like, I thought he was pretty astute, trying to work within the Ratu tribe, trying to build connections with Soka, particularly Danny. He found an idol right away, saved his butt by idling out Maddie, which was pretty impressive. And honestly, he stuck with the Ratu majority for a while, but they were slowly dismantled, unfortunately. But if he hadn't, at one point he became the top dog of the Ratu tribe, in my opinion. So really impressive on his part, and I think he could do well in a game where he comes back. And obviously, as a former NFL player, he brings a lot of strength to this tribe. So I think he would just be a huge plus for the Galoa tribe. And finally, from season 41, we have Liana. Liana was someone that I thought did really well in the game. Clearly very bright. She was young. She had very good instincts, social acumen that I greatly appreciated. At one point, she linked up with Shan, and they kind of were doing some devious stuff together, which was really fun to watch because Shan is pretty devious. She's one of the ones that probably went out a little too early that I think could have gone a little bit further had one or two things broken her way. Like if she had gotten Xander's advantage when she tried to do knowledge is power, didn't work out. Plus, I like adding her to the cast because of the dynamic of like her and Xander is sort of old rivals in a way, even though Xander, I think he said that he had a huge crush on her at the same time, which is really fun. I like adding her back in because she's a younger person I think could do really well in the game. And she was strong. She was good in challenges. So I think overall the Galoa tribe is shaping up to do pretty well, with Deshawn, Brandon, Mariah, Drea, and then Liana. They're set. I have to say, it was really tough to leave Lauren from season 44 off this list, but unfortunately it can't just be a bunch of season 44 people with recency bias. Then finally, we have the Natovi tribe, aka the Latinx tribe. First, we'll start off with one of the males, Ricard from season 41. I love Ricard. Ricard is one of my favorite players of the new era. I think outside of the people who had made Final Tribal Council, he's the best player that has not made it there. I think he did so well. His instincts were amazing. To this day, when he talks to Shan, when Shan's trying to get her vote back from Ricard by using the same psychology that they used on JD, Ricard pointing it out immediately, going like, yeah, that's what I told you to tell him, and saw right through it. Like, I think he's brilliant. He's a physical threat. He's very bright. He's good at puzzle challenges. Overall, he'd just be a great add to the tribe, and he'd be a great add to the season in itself. Plus, I think he's got a unique look by being as young as he is, and he's got gray hair. I think it's just kind of fun to watch on TV. But speaking of fun for TV, we have season 44's Jamie. I love Jamie so much. Seeing her on screen, she got done dirty, okay? Jamie had a good season. She was in the majority alliance with Ratu for a while, but again, they kind of fell apart, like when I was talking about with Brandon. She was on pace to do really well, and she did. But I think she could have gotten a little bit further along. Like, I think she would do well strategically in the game. She has great relationships. Who doesn't love someone with a personality like that? But at the very least, she'll be really fun for the camera. And I think that's important to remember when you're trying to balance out seasons. So I think she could do super well and get super far. I'm just happy to see her on TV again if this were to ever happen, which again, Cook Islands 2 will never happen, but hopefully she gets a second chance in one form or another. Next up from season 43, we have Jesse. Everyone expected Jesse to be on this list, I'm sure. Jesse was the guy who didn't quite make Final Tribal, another victim to the fire. And he probably would have won Season 43 had he had made it. Obviously, very strategic, very methodical in how he thought about things. Challenge-wise, he was okay, but okay is good in Survivor, I think. And he would bring another dynamic. Now, having him and Ricard as strategic threats, I imagine would butt heads pretty much immediately, and that would be a little bit of a problem. Admittedly, both of those players are kind of cut from the same cloth, but if I wanted to make the best cast list I couldn't leave one of them off. So Jesse and Ricard are on that list, and they're about to be joined by Jesse's buddy from Season 43, which is Carla Cruz. Godoy! Carla also finished very high up in Season 43. Carla was a major threat to win the game. I've talked to a few castaways about this from 43, and they knew right around the time Carla went out, Carla was the top dog. And then once Carla went out, Jesse was the top dog. So having them on the same tribe would be interesting. Honestly, it would probably target them immediately, which I don't want, but a 43 cast member has to be the double on this tribe here. So we're going with Carla because honestly, she earned it. She's a badass. She won immunities, you know, and she's probably the best representative for big girls, right? You said, what about the big girls, you know? And Carla is probably the best representative in the history of the show at that. And it'd be hard to keep her off the list, even from like just adding in that piece, because in many ways she's a big hero, I think, for people. She's got a great look. She's a cold-blooded killer. Like, man, she snatched the advantage out of Owen's hand, basically, right at the final 5 or so. That was pretty awesome to watch. Overall, she was strategically very sound. She was a part of Blindsides. She says what's on her mind for the most part. I love some of her voting confessionals. And she just overall just did really well. Now, the dynamic with her and Jesse versus the other 3 in the tribe, I think they're going to get cooked unless they have an idol, but we'll see. And the last member of this tribe from Season 42, this is someone I want to see play the game again, is Mike Turner from Season 42. Mike Turner is someone that I thought played a really good game and went into Final Tribal Council as the winner. Unfortunately, I think, you know, Marianne pretty much snatched that victory from him. But he had played so well, he had an idol, and he really maneuvered around votes pretty well. He was in the majority, he was straightforward, he played like the hero, fireman role, and he didn't have to get his hands too dirty, but he got them dirty enough to the point where I think people respected him to win the game, but he just didn't own up to it. So if it went the way that I expected in Season 42, he wouldn't be eligible to even be on this list because he would have won the game. So I think he'll bring his leadership attributes, his character, his good relationship building to this tribe. And I think that'd be really important because I think there's a lot of players that are going to be a little more focused on dissension and power grabbing. I think this is probably the smartest tribe that I assembled, which also means that they can get up to the most nonsense at the same time. And I don't think Mike will be a part of that per se, because I think he'll probably be like a step behind the other ones, but it'd be a really interesting tribe. But I think it'll be the most interesting dynamic to watch, truthfully, because it'll probably be the most entertaining. But I'm very proud of this tribe. I think it's assembled really well. It's only a shame that I couldn't put Jam Jam on this tribe. I would love to see Jam Jam on there, along with someone like Ricard and Jesse. It'd be great. But that's it. Those are the Cook Islands tribes, okay? Again, remember, this is never gonna happen. It doesn't matter. It's just pure fun. It's basically a reason for me to put some returnees from the new era onto these tribes. Now, one thing I will say is there was some intentionality in this idea in that in the new era, I'm really intrigued on how they would deal with race and pride. And even when you think of the term tribes used in Survivor, that's something that is very tied to ethnicity and race for many groups. So you wonder to yourself, like, what would that look like in the new era? Because there were many conversations that happened in Cook Islands early on when they talked about the dynamics within their own tribes as far as their race is related. I thought it was really interesting. Particularly, I remember the African-American tribe, that was a big conversation about how we look to the rest of the world and how we're going to show up to everyone. And also, I think within the Asian American tribe, like Cowboy kind of broke the mold of that tribe and said, you know, nothing offends me. I could say basically whatever. Like, he would just make a bunch of jokes about Asian people. And the other people of the tribe were like, yeah, we get it. We understand what's going on here, but I don't think the rest of the world will totally get it. So I'm kind of curious if like the theme would show up in that way, right? Like, would these returning players talk about race in any way, or they just see it as, well, I'm on the Galoa tribe and we just all happen to be the same background, right? And the new era is all about representation, and doesn't mean that you need to go into a diatribe and talk about your history and your ancestry, but it could spark that by having everyone of the same background on the same tribe. And when I say background, I say I say this very liberally when I say that. Like, someone who comes from a Venezuelan family is not going to probably vibe the same way as someone from a Puerto Rican background, right? Or someone from, from Sri Lanka is not going to have the same vibe as someone whose background is Korea. So these are not really the same thing. Admittedly, they're not. However, there could be some overlap that would at least be interesting conversation, or because they're so separate, there's interesting conversation in that. But ultimately, this is just for fun. It will never happen. Truthfully, if you ask me, gun to head, I don't want it to ever happen. But this is one of those things you sit around on a Sunday and you go like, if they did a Cook Islands 2, what would that look like? I would want to see this cast list. Then of course there'll be a giant statue of Billy Garcia sitting in the background. But that's gonna do it for this video. Who would you think would be in a Cook Islands 2 cast list? Do you think it's a good cast list? Do you think they should ever do it again? I don't. Initially in challenges, who do you think would be the best? Who do you think would be worse? Let me know down below in the comment section what you think of an idea like this. And the giveaway for the Survivor Luvu buff is closed, but I will be letting you know in the next video as to who won that, and then I'll find out the details so I can send it out. And remember to hit the subscribe button so you can see more videos like this in the future and some fun interviews. Otherwise, hope you have an amazing day, everyone. You take care, and you remember, I have